Welcome to Mimi's Math Channel. Today I will demonstrate how to find the inverse of a 2 by 2 matrix. In order to do so, you need to know the formula. Your matrix that you start with is in the form of your elements being A, B, C, D. But then you want to try to find the inverse, which is notated by A to the negative 1, by using 1 over the determinant times, and once you multiply times this new matrix, you're going to swap out your A and your D position. So D is first and then A is last. And then for your B and your C, the only thing that you do is you change your sign. So you just multiply times a negative. You have to watch out though, because your determinant cannot be a 0. That's undefined. So therefore it wouldn't be an inverse. If you wanted to check to see that the answer that you came up with is truly the inverse, then you would want to use your identity matrix, which is shown here. So in order to get this, I would have to take my original matrix and multiply times what I believe the inverse should be. If it is true, your answer will come out as 1, 0, 0, 1. So let's go ahead and try an example 1 to find the inverse of this matrix A. I want to set up my formula, which is the inverse of A, and it's notated like this, and it's going to be 1 over the determinant, which I showed you in another video. That's simply going to be A times D, which in this case is 3 times 4, so 12, minus, and then B times C, in this case is negative 1 times negative 6, which is positive 6. Now I'm going to multiply that times this new matrix, where I'm going to change the positions of A and D. So instead of the first position, A, being 3, is now going to be 4, which is currently my D. And then I'm going to swap A with D and put that here. For B, I'm just going to change the sign. It's currently negative 1. I want to make it a positive 1. For C, it's currently negative 6. I want to make it a positive 6. So now I'm going to simplify, and I have 1 over 6, which was 12 minus 6. And next to that, I'm just going to go ahead and rewrite that information in. And then I am going to distribute to each one of those elements. So 1 over 6 times 4, 1 over 6 times 6. Next to it, 1 over 6 times 1, and below that 1 over 6 times 3. So now what I want to do is I want to create a new matrix, and this is going to be what I feel is going to be the inverse, but I'm going to check it just to make sure. So 1 times 4 is 4, and then 4 over 6 is simplified as 2/3. 6 over 6 is actually 1. 1/6 times 1 is still 1/6. 1/6 times 3 is 3/6, but 3/6 simplified is 1/2. So this is what I feel the inverse is, but let's check it to make sure. And in order to check it, we have to use this formula. My original A was 3, negative 6, negative 1, and 4. And I'm going to multiply that by what I feel the inverse should be, which is going to be 2 over 3, 1, 1/6, 1/2. And remember, for multiplying, you have to take the first row, multiply times the first column. When you're doing that, you're going to take the first element times the first element, the second element times the second element. Then you have to go back and do the same thing for the first row and the second column. You're going to take the first element with the first element and the second element with the second element. So this is what it would look like. It's going to be 3 times 2/3, and then I have negative 1 times 1. Once I simplify this, I have 2 minus 1, which is 1. So we're off to a good start because that first element is actually 1. And then I'm going to go across to the first row in the first matrix and the second column in the second matrix. So that's 3 times 1 over 6, and then negative 1 times 1/2. If I simplify that, this is 3/6, which is really 1/2. And then negative 1 times 1/2 is negative 1/2. So that gives me 0. I'm going to go to the second row, first column. This first element goes to the first element. The second one goes to the second one. When I'm finished doing that, I'm going to take the first row and I'm going to multiply it times the second column. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the first element and the second element. First row, first column, I have negative 6 times 2/3 plus 4 times 1. If I simplify this, negative 6 times 2 is negative 12, divided by 3 is negative 4, and then 4 times 1 is positive 4, which leaves me with 0. 6 times 1/6 plus 4 times 1/2. Simplified, -6 times 1 is -6, divided by 6 is -1. And then 4 times 1 is 4, divided by 2 is +2. -1 plus 2 is +1. So I can see that, yes, I did end up with my identity matrix. So that original answer is actually my inverse. That wraps up the video. Thumbs up. Please subscribe. Have an awesome day.